My ex-wife and I ran into each other at the supermarket 10 years after our divorce. Long time no see, I said. She looked at my current wife beside me and froze. Without a word, she fled as if she'd seen the Grim Reaper. Moments later, my phone buzzed with a message from her. Divorce her now. Your new wife is 10 years. That's how long it had been since the divorce. Not a word, not a glimpse, nothing. My ex-wife, Michelle, had ghosted me from her life so completely, it was as if our marriage never happened. She left me with a 2-sentence note on the kitchen counter. You've lost your ambition. I need passion. I need more. Then she vanished, moved to another city, changed her number, blocked me on everything. Last I heard, she'd married a high-flying entrepreneur and moved into a mansion near the coast. So imagine my surprise when on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, I bumped into her at the local supermarket. Well, she saw me first. I was walking down the cereal aisle, pushing the cart while holding hands with Lena, my wife of 3 years. She was radiant that day. Simple dress, no makeup, her natural smile lighting up the dull fluorescent aisle. And then, a loud clatter behind us. I turned around. Michelle stood there frozen, her hands still hovering over a fallen box of granola bars. Her face turned pale. Her eyes locked on Lena. She didn't say a word, just turned around and walked away quickly. Almost stumbled, actually. I blinked, confused. Did I imagine that? But then Lena nudged me, amused. That woman was staring at me like I stole her car. I chuckled awkwardly. You might have, depending on how you look at it. She tilted her head, puzzled, but didn't press further. We checked out, paid, headed to the car, and that's when my phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. I opened it. Divorce her now. Your new wife is dangerous. You have no idea who she really is. Please call me. I'm not joking. The number wasn't saved, but I recognized the way she wrote. Michelle. I stared at the screen. Was this fear? Panic? Jealousy? Or did she know something I didn't? Because that last line stuck with me like a splinter. You have no idea who she really is. And just like that, the quiet life I'd built started to tremble at the edges. Chapter 2. You don't know who you married. That night, I couldn't sleep. Michelle's message replayed in my mind like a whisper I couldn't silence. You have no idea who she really is. I stared at Lena, peacefully asleep beside me, curled under the sheets, her hair splayed out like ink across a white page. She looked perfect, loving, kind. But now, I started wondering what I didn't know. Who was she before we met? What didn't she tell me? I shook my head. I knew Lena. We met at a charity event. She worked in nonprofit law, volunteered with kids, cared for my ailing mother when we were dating. She wasn't just good. She was better than anything Michelle had ever been. Still, I needed answers. The first red flag. The next day, I replied to the number. Me. What are you talking about, Michelle? No response, so I did something I hadn't done in a decade. I searched her up. Her social media had changed. New last name. Most of her photos were private. But her profile picture caught my eye. She looked tired, faded. Not the glamorous woman who once walked out of my life in high heels and red lipstick. She hadn't aged well, emotionally I mean. She looked haunted. I searched her husband's name. Turns out they divorced 3 years ago. Messy. Court records showed asset freezes, infidelity accusations, even something about embezzlement? Still nothing that explained why she was warning me about Lena. Until an email came. Subject, you need to see this. No greeting, no signature, just a file. I scanned it. A PDF of a police report. Filed 8 years ago. A different city, different name. But the photo attached made my blood run cold. It was Lena. Same face, different hairstyle, different name. The report was for fraud and identity manipulation. I couldn't believe it, couldn't process it. Was this real? A mistake? A setup? I called Michelle. This time she answered. Her voice was tight, brittle. I wanted to stay away from you. I planned to. But when I saw her face, I nearly collapsed. Who was she back then? I asked slowly. She exhaled. Someone who destroyed my best friend's life. She seduced her husband, emptied their savings, vanished with thousands, and changed her identity. I only recognized her because of a birthmark near her collarbone. I sat down, hand trembling. That doesn't prove anything. Look at the report again, she said. Page 4. I opened it, scrolled. Known alias, Elena Monroe. Current alias, Lena Grace. My Lena. What do you do when love becomes a question? That night, I sat across from Lena at dinner. She talked about her day, laughed, asked me if I wanted to take a weekend trip. I smiled, nodded. Inside, I was spiraling. If Michelle was lying, it was the most elaborate, believable lie I'd ever seen. But if she was telling the truth, then I had no idea who I'd let into my home, my life, my future. And I was about to find out. Chapter 3. The truth behind her smile. The next morning, Lena left early for her usual Saturday yoga class. At least, that's what she said. The second she was gone, I opened my laptop and dove into research like a man possessed. Alias check. I pulled up the police report again and ran a reverse image search of the old mugshot from the file Michelle sent. The face was unmistakable. My wife, 8 years younger, hair darker, wearing a cold, distant expression I'd never seen before. I zoomed in. The collarbone birthmark Michelle mentioned? It was there. My stomach churned. A forgotten clue resurfaces. That's when something clicked. Early in our relationship, Lena once joked about changing her name after escaping a toxic past. At the time, I thought she meant an ex. We all have ghosts, right? But what if she hadn't been escaping abuse? What if she'd been escaping justice? I dug deeper, paid for access to archived public records. Sure enough, Elena Monroe had a sealed court case in Arizona. Not criminal, but civil. The file summary: breach of trust, financial misconduct, alleged romantic coercion. What the hell was romantic coercion? The plaintiff? A man named Graham Whitman. I kept digging. Turns out he died shortly after the case was settled. Car accident. No foul play suspected. But something felt off. Lena returned around noon. She kissed my cheek, dropped her gym bag, and went to shower. I stared at her like I was looking at a stranger. A dangerous move. That night, I made a decision. I called an old friend of mine, Ethan, a cybersecurity analyst. I didn't tell him the whole story, just that I was trying to verify someone's identity. I handed him everything I had: Lena's name, aliases, timelines, old photos. Ethan promised to run it through some databases and get back to me discreetly. But before he hung up, he said something that made my skin crawl. Just be careful. If she is running from something, there's usually a reason. And people like that, they don't like being found. The message. I wasn't meant to see. 2 days later, Lena forgot to log out of her iCloud on our shared iPad. I wasn't snooping, I was just checking the weather. But a notification popped up from her Yoga Girls group chat. Except this wasn't about yoga. The most recent message was from someone named Sandra. "How's the retirement plan coming? You buttered him up yet?" Then Lena replied, "He's almost there. He trusts me blindly. I give it 2 more months max. Once the house is in both our names, we're golden." I didn't move, I didn't breathe. I just stared. My blood went cold. She'd been conning me this entire time. This wasn't love. It was the long game. And it wasn't the first time she'd played it. But it was about to be the last. Chapter 4. The trap is set. I didn't confront her right away. That would have been easy. Satisfying in the short term? Sure, but not enough. I wanted her to feel safe, invincible, right before I pulled the entire illusion out from under her. So I smiled more, kissed her more, acted like the man she believed she'd fully deceived. Meanwhile, I was building my quiet arsenal. Step 1. Protect everything. That same day, I called my attorney. We moved the house back into my name, only using a loophole from our prenuptial agreement, a clause I'd forgotten existed, but one he hadn't. Lena had never bothered to read it. I also locked down my investments, froze joint accounts, rerouted all mail to a secure P.O. box, and changed every password I owned. She didn't notice a thing. She was too busy planning the next step in her betrayal. Step 2. The wire Ethan came through. He didn't just verify Lena's identity, he dug deep. Turns out Lena, real name, Elena Monroe Whitman, had been suspected in not 1, not 2, but 4 long-term relationship scams across 3 states. No formal charges ever stuck. Why? Because she was brilliant at emotional manipulation. Got them to hand over money, homes, even retirement accounts. And when they asked questions, she cried, faked pregnancy scares, claimed they were the abusive ones, and every single man walked away empty-handed, shamed, destroyed. Not this time. So I installed a discreet microphone in our bedroom smoke detector. Legal in our state, as long as one party consents, and I began recording. Step 3. The performance. A week later, I sat on the couch pretending to browse real estate listings. Lena walked in, still in her Pilates outfit, and asked casually, "Hey babe, did you ever get around to putting the house in both our names like we talked about?" I turned to her with a soft smile and said, "You're right. It's time. Let's go to the notary Friday." Her eyes sparkled. "Really?" "Of course," I said. "I trust you with everything." She kissed me. Harder than usual. She had no idea that she'd just handed me exactly what I needed. Verbal confirmation of her intent. The trap was nearly complete. Step 4. The grand unveiling. That Friday, I booked a meeting, not with a notary, but with a private investigator, a lawyer, and a man named Kevin. Kevin was Graham Whitman's younger brother, the man who filed the civil suit against Lena years ago, the man who later died in that suspicious car crash. Kevin had always suspected foul play. He'd been trying to track Lena down for years. Now, he had everything he needed. We shook hands, shared files, aligned strategies. The final phase was set, the calm, before the collapse. That night, Lena laughed over dinner as if nothing had changed. I watched her sip her wine, twisting her hair around her finger, completely unaware that every lie she'd built was now surrounded by gasoline. All I needed was one match, and I was holding it. Chapter 5. The public execution of her mask. The plan was simple. An anniversary dinner, elegant, candlelit, staged at the same upscale restaurant where we'd celebrated every year since we met. Lena thought it was romantic. She wore her best red dress, the one that hugged her curves and drew every eye in the room. I wore the navy suit she bought me last Christmas. We looked like the perfect couple. But beneath the table, my phone buzzed once. That was the signal. The guests began to arrive. At 8:05 p.m., Lena tilted her head and asked, "Wait, is that Ethan? From your firm?" I smiled. "Yeah, I ran into him earlier. He said he might stop by and say hello." She blinked, confused. "Why?" Before I could answer, the waiter approached and asked if we were ready to start. "I'd like to give a quick toast first," I said. Lena raised her glass, and then the doors opened. First, Amanda, Kay's ex-wife, the one who helped me months ago. Then, Kevin Whitman looking sharp and focused. Then, my lawyer. And finally, a quiet man in a gray coat with a police badge clipped to his waist. Lena turned pale. Her hand froze midair. What's going on? She whispered, her voice cracking. I stood up and gently tapped my glass with a fork. This one's for you, Lena. Tonight isn't just our anniversary, I said, loud enough for the room to hush. It's also the final chapter in a very long, painful lie. I turned to Lena, eyes calm. For months, years, maybe, you've been building a house of cards behind my back. Pretending, cheating, conning. Her mouth trembled. You don't know what you're talking about. I nodded to Ethan, who pulled out a remote. A small projector lit up the wall beside our table.
Hey guys, real quick, I hope you're enjoying the story. Don't forget to subscribe, it would really help the page. Thanks for supporting.
First slide, a photo of Lena with Kay, locked in a hotel room embrace. Time-stamped. Second slide, her message to me. If you leave me, I'll end my life and make sure everyone blames you. Gasps filled the room. Third slide, a contract showing Lena trying to transfer property into her name, illegally. And finally, a video recording, the one from our bedroom, with her voice crystal clear. Just give it another few weeks. I'll have the house, the account access, and he won't even know what hit him. Lena covered her face, but it was too late. Her mother, who had just walked in, stood frozen at the door. The arrest. The detective stepped forward. Ms. Whitman, you're under investigation for fraud, property theft, and potential involvement in prior civil litigation connected to the Whitman estate. The room went dead silent. Lena cried out, lunging toward me. Please, please, don't do this. I was scared. I didn't mean... I stepped back. You weren't scared when you lied, when you manipulated, when you threatened suicide just to control me. She dropped to her knees, mascara streaking down her face. I knelt beside her and whispered, you could have had a life, a real one, but you chose to play games. And now, I stood tall, adjusted my cufflinks. You've lost, publicly, permanently. Aftermath, a new beginning. Lena was charged with multiple counts of fraud. The Whitman family reopened the civil case, and this time it stuck. Her nursing license suspended indefinitely. She disappeared from public life. Her accounts were frozen. Her reputation obliterated. As for me, I rebuilt, not with vengeance, but with clarity. I wrote a book about emotional abuse, manipulation, and the importance of documenting everything. It became a bestseller, and every time I gave a talk or signed a copy, I remembered the moment Lena collapsed, because it wasn't just revenge, it was liberation. Final line, the best revenge isn't cruelty, it's truth, with receipts. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like the story? Share it with someone who needs this energy.